can you see me? All right, so let's begin. Hi everyone, welcome to the info session organized by GDSC IIT Goa. This session is supposed to serve as an introductory session so as to you get familiarized with GDSC IIT Goa. By the end of this session, you will hopefully have a fair idea about what is a GDSC, the purpose of a GDSC, and what it has to offer to you. Towards the end, we'd also be more than happy to answer if you have any queries. And after having all this information, we hope you'll be interested in joining us as well. So let's get started right away. The first fundamental question is, what is a GDSC? The first thing to know is that GDSC stands for Google Developer Student Clubs. Many universities across the world have a GDSC at their campus, and as IIT Goa students, we're a part of the IIT Goa chapter of GDSC. However, students who do not have a GDSC at their campus can also be a part of the IIT Goa chapter in order to participate in the campaigns and events that we organize. So let's break down the name of the club. The Developer Student Clubs, part of it refers to the GDSCs being clubs or community groups for university students who are passionate about growing their skills as a developer. The whole point of having a club in a university is to create a community of like-minded students and connect people who are interested in similar technologies to boost their learning. So by joining a GDSC, students grow their knowledge in a peer-to-peer learning environment and come together to help their community and local businesses by building solutions. I'm sure you'll realize this gradually as your college life progresses, but I would still like to explicitly highlight the importance of community. It helps you to find opportunities at the right times. It helps you find role models to look up to, and having a group of people in the field as yourself keeps you aware and motivated to grow. And since the tech industry is ever evolving and a very fast moving one, it becomes all the more important to keep track of what's going on in the world and staying connected. And what could be more effective than talking to people who also live in the same world as you? So community building and networking is something you should practice as early in life as possible. And these clubs are a great platform to start, and being a part of communities in college will gradually prepare you for the real world as well. So coming to why we need a GDSC at our campus. What is its purpose and why is it so important? So our motto is connect, learn, and grow. Through a GDSC, you get the opportunity to connect with like-minded students within our campus, as well as with students from other colleges around the world. You get to meet people from various diverse backgrounds and explore many different perspectives. By participating in the activities of a GDSC, you learn about a wide range of technical topics, get guidance from experienced professionals, and gain important technical skills through campaigns, workshops, and events. All in all, it is an opportunity for you to grow in technical as well as personal and professional aspects, network, and apply all that you learn to build significant projects that solve real-world problems. Now I would like to introduce you all to our team that works really hard to bring all these opportunities and events to you and makes use of their expertise to give back to the community as members of GDSC IIT Goa. I am Sejal Gupta, the club head, more formally the lead of GDSC IIT Goa. My core members who constantly support me and carry the club are Advait Agashe, Kartike Sharma, Sanjana Reddy, Sneha Jayaganthan, and Twisha Bansal. And we're all third-year students. My team members who have brought great enthusiasm and new ideas to the club and who do major behind-the-curtains work to keep the club alive and relevant, and who are also going to be the backbone of the club in the future. We have Adarsh Anand, Aniket Chaudhary, Anish Natakar, Nandini Mawane, Srajan Chaurasia, and Abhav Tomir. And all of them are from second year. Everyone on the team brings something significant and unique to the table, and you can contact any one of us to ask for guidance or if you have any queries. To start giving you an idea of what this club has to offer to you, let's look at all that we've done till now. As the clubs are renewed every year with new people, new objectives, and new ideas, we started our tenure in the September of 2021. From September 2021 till now, we have successfully hosted 2 campaigns and 1 workshop covering different technical domains in each of them. The first campaign that we organized was the Google Cloud campaign called 30 Days of Google Cloud, and it was a 30-day long learning sprint that focused on cloud architecture and machine learning. A huge shout out to Adarsh Anand, who facilitated this whole campaign and wrapped it up successfully. He will tell you more about it himself in a few minutes. Then we organized the Android Study Jams. That was also a month-long learning sprint that was focused on app development using Kotlin. A huge shout out to Aniket Chaudhary for facilitating this campaign and putting in a lot of hard work to make this campaign successful. He will elaborate more on it himself in a few minutes. We also conducted a workshop in collaboration with GoMino, the coding club of IIT Goa, to introduce students to open source and Hacktober Fest, which is an initiative to celebrate open source development. Unavoidably, some of these events were conducted before your academic year began, but there is nothing to worry about because you can find the recordings and the resources for all these events and sessions on our chapter page and our YouTube channel, the links for which we'll provide towards the end of the session, so you can go through them anytime you want. Recently, we also wrapped up CFES 2022, which was the second edition of our Technical Fest. Among the amazing lineup of events that we had during CFES this year, 2 of them were organized by GDSC IIT Goa. Hack the Games was a workshop come hackathon on template matching, which is a concept in OpenCV. Shout out to Srajan and Anish and their team for organizing this event successfully. The second one was Bash It, and it was a workshop on Bash scripting taken by Professor Amaldev Manuel, Associate Dean at IIT Goa. Shout out to Twisha and her team for organizing this event and handling everything very well throughout. Now I'd like to invite Adarsh to tell you more about the Google Cloud campaign.
Thank you, Sejaldi. So, hello everyone. I am Adarsh Anand, who was the Google Cloud facilitator. This program happened around the month of October 2021. So, what is exactly 30 days of Google Cloud? It's a perfect opportunity for all of you guys to start your career in cloud. I am sure that some of you might have heard the term of cloud computing, for which you apply for roles of cloud engineer and cloud architect. So Google Cloud is another platform where you can develop and learn many new cloud skills, and hence you can apply for all those positions. So in 30 days of Google Cloud, we did hands-on practice on Google Cloud itself. So what happens is Google offers you some infrastructure and you have to perform some fundamental tasks in order to complete them. And as soon as you complete all of them, a series of tasks, you get a badge, and all those badges you will earn throughout your journey, and you will get if you complete all the tracks, you will get swags at the end. But now, in these 30 days, you will learn and practice some fundamental concepts such as cloud computing and cloud infrastructure. One example of cloud computing I would like to give is you have heard of Google Colab, which is owned by Google. What happens is it allocates you some resources, some amount of disk space and RAM to run your IPYNB files. It is used generally in training big machine learning models and deep learning models. Similarly, cloud infrastructure is the entire base how the Google Cloud is set up, and you will also learn how this infrastructure exists in Google Cloud. Going on, we also learned about Kubernetes and Docker. Talking of Docker, Docker is an software from which you can containerize your applications. Containerizing is a fancy term of saying that you package all the bundles, all the dependencies, libraries, configuration into a single Docker container. And all these Docker container you can ship one by one in order to create your entire app. And Kubernetes is a tool that handles all the Docker containers. It is a way that coordinates such that all the Docker containers are used, and then you get the app run successfully. Further, we also learned about machine learning APIs. Now, APIs are application programming interface. It is a way for which you can communicate between the server and your client. In this case, the server being Google Cloud and you being the client. The most popular machine learning APIs are computer vision API, for which you can use many applications such as object detection, hand tracking, image pre-processing, and so on. Further, you have NLP APIs, which is natural language processing. NLP, that is natural language processing, is mostly used in Siri and Alexa. Suppose you are saying that Siri play Shape of You song. Then Siri or Alexa interprets your sound and then converts it into text and understand what that text has to perform, which in this case is playing song. So let me tell you one more fact that Google Cloud is mostly popular because of its machine learning API, and no other cloud provider is able to do so much in depth such as Google Cloud is doing. And last but not the least, we have data insights, uh, for which you use BigQuery and SQL. Now, BigQuery is virtual data warehouse where you can store all of your data at one place. And SQL is your structured query language, which means you can query a particular form of data. Suppose you want to get all the transaction which has happened on a particular day. You write a SQL statement and extract all those relevant information which you need from a large data set. Next slide, please. So these are some of the news related to cloud and Google Cloud technologies. I would like to highlight the bottom right news. Apple is Google's largest cloud consumer for storage. Now, you know, Apple is such a big company and it does not have a cloud infrastructure of its own. And Apple completely relies on Google Cloud for storing all the consumer data. And this is a very big deal and very good achievement for Google that it is handling entire data of Apple. Uh, just below that, you can see Apple uses Google Server to store around 8 million terabytes of iCloud data. 8 million terabytes, you just imagine how much it is. In your PC, you just max, you will be able to store 1 terabyte of data. But as your company size grow and as you collect much more data, it is very beneficial to store all this data online and you can retrieve them whenever you need. Next slide. So in this 30 days of cloud technology, you will learn about different data storage process, different server, how the server and client interact with each other, cloud deployment, which is very important. Cloud deployment is basically deploying your projects onto a remote site such that everyone in the world can access your project. You will also use cloud deployment very frequently if you are deploying your web application or Android application. Then there are databases which we talked about in data insights such as BigQuery and SQL. Also, you would be learning about networking, which is another advanced level concept for which you need to have basic understanding of Linux. And then with the use of cloud technology, you can save your files to a remote database and retrieve them on demand. One example I would like to give is if you know about GitHub, GitHub is a software which is owned by Microsoft. So what it does is all your local files and folders present in your computer, you are able to deploy it on GitHub and then you can retrieve them whenever you need. Suppose in your laptop breaks, then you will lose all your local files and folders. But if you have deployed those files and folders on GitHub, you can access them anytime you want. So next slide, please. This is the general perception of people who are hearing the term cloud computers for the first time. They might be thinking that cloud computers are some computers which are stored on cloud, but it's not exactly like that. It cloud computer is basically someone else's computer, such as Google or Amazon, Amazon's AWS, Microsoft Azure, and so many things. They have different data centers throughout the globe, which they have very high processing power, high RAM, and high resources to perform some fundamental tasks. So why you should study about cloud computing? First of all, the salary of cloud computers are very high in the field of cloud architect and cloud engineers. And let's say even if you do not want to apply for those positions, just know that all these things such as cloud computing, data, server, storage, all these things exist will make you a better all-round developer. Also, you could also use all these terms and terminologies while you have a conversation. so that you will be more technically sound in future. So now Aniket will also tell you about his Android study jams. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So as you know that Android app development is a very booming and fast growing tech domain these days. Earlier, for any company to reach out to people, they used to have a website. Like website was the only thing that they could use to reach out to people. But nowadays, for any company or any startup or maybe the individual also needs an app to showcase his or her product or market his or her product. So every company has a requirement for Android developers or app developers. So through Android Study Jams, we help students to begin their journey into Android development using Kotlin language. Android Study Jams are a 1.5 month long program, and in that we hold some sessions and hands-on workshop to help you begin your journey into Android development. Most of you, I guess, have attended some of the sessions that we organized in the month of December last year. Next slide, please. So the whole program is done through the course provided by the Google itself that is available online. So you can even access it now if you want to learn Android development through Kotlin. In the 45 days program, we learned how to program in object-oriented language Kotlin, and in the subsequent hands-on workshop sessions, we created some basic apps using Android Studio, added some basic layouts, and made the app functional by adding buttons and writing the code to make it user friendly and user accessible. So for this program, 13 students were able to complete this program successfully, that is complete all the pathways that are provided by Google, and they can even apply for a Google certificate, Google Android Developer Certificate, which holds much value if you are looking to pursue your career into Android development. And Google provides 80% reimbursement for that. So you can see that Google is trying hard to get users friendly with the Kotlin language, and you can also avail this opportunity. For this time, this program is over, but you can also this hopefully this session should be conducted again this year in the month of December. So if you missed out this time, you can surely complete this all the pathways and learn Android development using Kotlin this time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adarsh and Aniket. Just a second. Yeah, so now that all of you have learned more about cloud and Android from Adarsh and Aniket, I just want to mention that some of these things you might even learn in your college curriculum. But the club's job here is to bridge the gap between theory and practice. So do make the right use of it. Moving on, did you all notice that I still haven't mentioned the significance of Google in the name of the club? So when it comes to the technical content and topics that we cover, we give a lot of prominence to Google technologies. On the slide here, you can see some of the most widely used Google technologies. Some of them are frameworks, some are libraries, some are APIs, and some are other tools. So if you observe around a bit, you'll notice that most of these are used almost everywhere in their respective fields. TensorFlow is a very popular library for machine learning, and Colab is one of the most used interactive notebook tools, like Adarsh also mentioned. Dialogflow is used to create chatbots, and the Maps API is integrated with a lot of other technologies to provide the location experience. Flutter and Android are used for application development, and I'm pretty sure that you either already have or will hear about more technologies like Firebase and Cloud. Yeah, so Cloud you've already heard about from others. So now you probably have an idea about how being proficient at these Google technologies will make you capable of innovating, creating, and solving problems. So to infer from what I have told you till now, the content and activities that are delivered to you by and through GDSC IIT Goa are gold mines of opportunities, and you should make complete and good use of it. It's not just a club, but a platform to learn, to brainstorm with other students, showcase your skills, and put them to good use by innovating and building things to help those around you and meeting new people who can mentor you. And the only way to exploit this opportunity is by participating and staying active. While we're still on the topic of opportunity, I would like to call Nandini to talk about women in tech because it cannot really be a community without diversity and equality.
Hi, so I'll be talking about women in technology. So, next slide, please. So the first question that I want to address at this point is, why are there so few women in tech? So there are basically three underlying reasons for this, and I think everyone here is very well aware of the gender bias that is there around us, right? So I'm sure there are quite a few of us, including me, who have from their early childhood heard that technical fields are more suited for boys because their brains um technique function more towards that side, towards the technical side, and that they're more suited for such jobs, right? So this conditioning stays in our minds even when we grow up, and while making a choice for our career or choosing a path as to what we want to pursue, this conditioning is somewhere there, and and plays a role in all of our decisions, right? And then there's this unconscious bias in everyone's head, and this is something that we need to unlearn. And anyone who's not unlearned this has this bias against women, and they just meaning they won't even be conscious about it, and they just unconsciously think that there are certain roles that are better suited to men, and tech is one of those. And they can be your mentors, your recruiter, your parents, or anybody with these unconscious biases. And then the third reason is the male dominated field. Tech has been a male dominated field for a long time now. And women might feel it a little difficult to make their way and to make a place for themselves in a field that is so heavily dominated by men. Next slide. Okay, so now let's talk about why do we need female participation. So female participation is needed to create diverse teams, okay, to improve the utility of products, hence making them useful for a larger group of people. So I'll give you an example of airbags. So an airbag is basically something that prevents you from being heavily affected by an accident, right? By a car accident. So the team that was building airbags initially consisted of tall people. So when the airbags came out, they could prevent tall people from accidents, meaning the harm was reduced for them, but it had little to no effect for shorter people. Now you realize how this product failed to be useful for a very significant population, right? So a solution is not a solution unless it is a solution for everyone. And in order to be able to build a solution for everyone, it is imperative that you have representation from all groups on the team, right? So if there's a tech company or anything of that sort which is building a product to suit everyone's needs, it is really important that they have enough representation from all the groups. It is only then that they'll be able to create something useful for everyone. And besides that, if a woman is passionate about tech, she should obviously go for it, and the jobs should not be gender related, or gender should not even play a role in any of these, because those biases do not make sense if you actually think about them. Next slide. Let us now talk about the challenges that women face in tech. So here are a few challenges that women have faced for a long time, and I'm not sure how relevant these are to the present day world, but these have been there for a long time, and people had faced these. Okay, so starting with income disparity. Um, I'm sure that that many of us have read about it in newspapers. And income disparity, it's like a woman might be paid less than her male counterpart for the very same job, right? And it's totally just excuse me a second. Okay, I'm getting a call again. Yeah. Okay. So income disparity, and it's like a woman may be paid less as compared to her male counterpart for the very same job, and it's totally incorrect, and people are fighting against this, and it is also illegal now. Okay. The second challenge that women in tech face is a lack of female role models. Now, how does this pose as a challenge? Let's say I'm a person working in a tech company, and I aspire to be promoted to a certain position in the years to come. But that position that I am aspiring to hold in the upcoming years, that position might not have been occupied by any woman until now. And the lack of female role model here is going to make me feel as if my dream is unattainable, as if my aspirations are way too far-fetched for me to achieve them, right? So that's a challenge. But in today's world, that challenge is not so much of a challenge anymore, because there are a lot of female role models here, and there are women in top tech positions and who are doing really great at their jobs. So there are a lot of female role models to look up to now. And then there's this opinions and contributions lack recognition. So this is something that I have seen in a few of my classes at school also. And it's like, if there is one idea or one suggestion or one constructive, and there are two people who are bringing this same constructive to the table, the boy may be credited more, right? And this is something that has been happening in the tech industry, and people are fighting against it. And it is not justified at all, right? An idea must be credited for its own worth, and it should not matter at all as to who's bringing it forth. Next slide. Let us now discuss what the incentives are there for women to pursue career in tech. And before jumping onto any of these, I want to say that the biggest incentive out there for a woman to pursue tech would be passion. And if a woman is passionate about a particular career, about a particular field, and wants to pursue a career in that field, a passion is the biggest incentive that is there for her to pursue a career in that field. And besides that, there are a few other incentives as well. Okay, so in order to bridge gap and bring equality between genders, major tech companies have launched women-specific initiatives. And to name a few, there's Women Tech Makers program by Fellowship by Google, Google Step Internship, Generation Google Scholarship, and there are millions of such opportunities. You just have to make the most use out of it, right? And then tech provides you with an opportunity to impact lives of many people around you. It provides you a platform where you can make world a simpler place, and you can impact lives of millions of people out there. And it is, according to me, one of the biggest incentives there is. Next slide. So as we move to conclusion, I want to talk about how to make a place. So there are 3 points that I want to discuss. The first one being dealing with failure. It might sound very stereotypical when I say it, but this is something that has been observed, right? So it's like if there's a girl who is trying her hand at a particular field, and she encounters a minute failure, the way she would react to that failure would be a lot different from how a boy would react. And this has been observed for a lot of times, right? When you encounter a failure, most of the time she's going to think that maybe she's not good enough for the job that she's trying to do. Maybe the job is not meant for her, and she should try her hand in something else altogether, right? But it is then that you need to sit down, pause, and analyze the situation for a minute, and realize that A failure does not mean that you have to switch your entire career or change everything altogether. It's just that it's simply a minute failure, and all you need to do is find out where you went wrong and improve it and work better the next time. It's just that. So how you look at your failure is really important, and you need to have a positive outlook at all times. The second thing is combating the imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is basically the feeling that you might be the feeling where you don't trust in your capabilities or your skills, and that you think that wherever you are just because of sheer luck, and that you don't deserve to be there. So it's very important that you reassure yourself at all times, and you remind yourself of all of your capabilities, of the hard work that you put into things, and your skills and your talent, and tell yourself that the only reason you are where you are is because you put the work into it, and because you're skilled to be there. It's not because of luck. And the third thing, which is the most important thing, is stop feeling judged. If there's anything, if there's a query that you want to ask in a class, or anything like that, if there's just a doubt that you want to ask your teacher, and you think that it's very silly, and that people might laugh at you, and that you may be judged because of that, and maybe because of that you keep the doubt to yourself and you don't ask, you're actually harming yourself. If there's an algorithm or an answer that you have to a certain problem, but just because you think that people may take it otherwise, and just because of that you don't present it, you're going to harm yourself doing that. I know it sounds very cliche, but you must not care about what people are going to think about you. If you have got to do something, you need to go ahead and do it, irrespective of what people are going to think. So I think that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nandini. I think Nandini has spoken aloud my own thoughts, as I am a woman in tech myself. And I would just like to mention a few more opportunities for women, like Grace Hopper Celebration, Twitter's Developer, ETHWM Scholarship, etc. I hope Nandini has encouraged women in our college to stay motivated to pursue careers in STEM. And I also hope men in our college will stay mindful and appreciative of women around them who are also pursuing STEM, just like them. So before we wrap it up, I would like to let you in on the upcoming events that we have planned for you to be organized in near future, so that you have something to look forward to. The first event we have in mind for you is a Flutter campaign, and we'll circulate the details on that very soon. So be on the lookout for that. And Flutter is going to be very, very useful because it can create apps for iOS as well as Android. After that, we'll organize a web development campaign, and towards the end of the semester, we'll have a machine learning campaign. We'll also have sessions on soft skills and portfolio building going on side by side, and we'll intimate you about those as and when they happen. You can reach out to us if you want us to cover anything else, or if there is anything specific that you need help with. So that's all from our side. You can connect with us on all these platforms, and I'll put the links to all of these in the chat. Make sure that you join the WhatsApp group to stay updated on all our activities, and join our chapter on the chapter page to receive email intimations for all our events. Thank you for attending, and now we're open to questions.
Like other clubs, do we have to fill a Google form to be a part of this club?
No, so you do not have to fill a Google form. What you have to do is you have to join our chapter on the chapter page. So, okay, let me just share my screen and show you what I'm talking about. So this is our chapter page. What you'll have to do is you'll have to log in using your Google account. So preferably the IIT Goa account, because you do not have to take permissions to join Google Meets through that. And you'll just stay connected better if you use our IIT Goa account. So you have to log in with that on this page. And if you go to that link, you will find the option to join the chapter. So you have to join the chapter, and once you do that, you'll be a member of the club, and you'll get email intimations about everything, all the activities that we are going to conduct. And the one other important thing to be an active member of the chapter is to join the WhatsApp group. You do not have to fill any Google form. The chapter page link is enough to join the club.
Okay, on mine it is showing you have been member of this group since December 29.
Yeah, then you have already joined our chapter.
Okay,
You must
okay.
have joined it if you attended the Android study
Yeah, and
jam.
I was a part of Android Study Jam.
Yeah. So since I was talking about community, I would also like to, I just remembered one instance. So if all of you watch Shark Tank, there was one episode where there was a group of three people who came with an app called Event Beep, which connects college students among themselves. And they have like a really, really big community. So I guess a lot of sharks were interested to invest in that. So you must realize that community it must be really, really important for such influential people to think that their community app is going to see success. So make sure that you connect with people and stay active in technical clubs, not just DSC, but all the technical clubs that you find interest in, cultural for that matter as well. Yeah. Any other questions?
I want to ask that I was not able to attend the Android study jam. If I will uh, try to learn in using YouTube videos, I get the batches of that?
Uh, I think Aniket would be more suited to answer that. As far as I know, you will, but I don't think I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you can follow the YouTube videos to learn Android development. Which one is better to learn DSA in, C++ or Java or Python? Okay, so Soumya, you'll get different answers when you ask that question to different people. So personally, I prefer C++. So between C++ and Python, I prefer C++ because Python is very, very slow. So even though the time limits that are imposed are like in competitive coding contests and all are according to are on scale, but still C++ has the STL library, which is very, very useful in data structures. And again, so like the STL library that C++ has is enough to make C++ when it comes to DSA. Java is mostly useful for object orientation. So if you're trying to learn the concept of object orientation and that is what you have to use, Java is a great language. Like C++ has that too, but Java only has that paradigm. So Java is really useful for that. So when it comes to DSA, my number one option is C++. If you're a beginner, I would also recommend that you start with Python because Python is a very, very easy language to learn, and you'll probably be taught that in one of your courses as well in first or second semester. So learning C++ will become much easier after you learn Python. But yeah, ultimately coding in C++ for DSA is great just because of that standard template library. People who don't have a question do not need to stay back. The session has formally ended. If you have any questions, you can ask them right away. You can put them on the chat or you can unmute. And thank you everyone for attending. Looking forward to seeing you join the club. Yes, the club will organize a lot of workshops. So be on a lookout for all those workshops. The first place where we let you in on the details for those workshops is email. So keep track of emails that you receive from the Developer Student Club ID. And they'll be on a lot of technical as well as uh, soft skill topics. So we'll cover a more all-round picture. Should I complete Android first or can I directly jump to Flutter? Okay, so Android and Flutter do not have much of a connection when it comes to creating apps. Flutter has become quite popular because it can make apps for both iOS and Android. So for Android, you can either use Java or Kotlin, but for Flutter, the programming language that you use is Dart. So it's not like Android is a prerequisite of Flutter. You can start with Flutter right away. Thank you, Soham. Thank you for attending as well. We hope you will keep participating and we'll keep working hard for you. And in the future, you'll be the students who will be carrying this club. So I think there are no more questions. So bye, everyone.